He's a 23-year-old monk, but he's treated like a rock star. Thousands have gathered since dawn to glimpse him on a rare visit to Ladakh near the Tibetan border. His name is Ogyen Trinley Dorje, but to his followers he's the 17th reincarnation of the Karmapa Lama, the third highest figure in Tibetan Buddhism. That makes him a living Buddha. He was once a prisoner of the Chinese, a little boy used as a pawn in the battle for Tibet. Now some believe he could eventually take over from the Dalai Lama to lead the struggle against China.
He's a very charismatic person. He's the one who has to shoulder a great responsibility. There's no doubt Karmapa Lama will do it, that's for sure. There's no other religious figures or the lamas, you know, who can really replace His Holiness, and he would be the best option, I think.
Many of the Buddhists here are Tibetan refugees. They have borne children and grandchildren in India since fleeing China's invasion. For nearly 50 years, their hopes of returning home have lain with their exiled leader, the Dalai Lama. But at 73, he says it's time to retire.
Since 16-year-old, I carry this responsibility. Difficult circumstances, darkest period of Tibetan history, I took this responsibility. I cannot take responsibility. Now, there should be limit.
There's now speculation the Karmapa Lama could fill his shoes. He agreed to meet me for a rare interview here on the doorstep of Tibet. While India has granted him political asylum, it's banned him from engaging in politics. His advisors told me he would not be able to discuss Tibet. We asked him anyway. How troubled are you by the recent turmoil in Tibet, and what is your understanding of the current situation? Ogyen Trinley holds a unique position in Tibetan Buddhism. As a child in Tibet, he was recognised by the Dalai Lama as the reincarnation of the previous Karmapa Lama. The atheist Chinese government endorsed the choice, even sending a representative to the 7-year-old's coronation. It fitted with China's policy of subduing the province by co-opting its spiritual and political leaders. But 7 years after these pictures were taken, the Karmapa Lama fled to India. There, the Dalai Lama took the 14-year-old under his wing, despite historic rivalry between their sects.
참말로 다대차리야 예자와리야 참말로 지 가르쇠 지 춤제르 지다 아니 지 로정지 리아 교회 자와치리야라.
The turmoil inside Tibet has only worsened. This year's riots were some of the biggest since China invaded and provoked another brutal crackdown. Outside Tibet, it cast grave doubt on the Dalai Lama's policy of peaceful engagement with China. Many refugees want a more radical approach. Tibetan Buddhism, of course, preaches non-violence, and yet we have seen some violence in recent times. What is your message to people? How confident are you that the struggle will remain peaceful?
추루디 남의 추억이 신이로디 처음에 이내야 남의 추억이 미기 가수라든지 이모션을 참으로 체제 돼야지 난 나오게 돼야 돼 그러나 감사해서 별이야 예대비지 부미 망보지 로마 뮤링이야 가수라든지 그도루냐 예주루냐제 딘지게 나로래야 안다지 독 망보 싶지 사이에 인주사 뒤균생기 안에 가수에 초직내 가수티 출루지기베 가수티 참조 제퇴하르지.
In recent days, the Dalai Lama has himself signalled a major change, saying he's lost hope of negotiating a solution with China.
Things not going well. I cannot pretend it's something okay. No. I have to accept failure. So therefore, it is my responsibility, my moral responsibility, to ask people what to do.
Many young Tibetans want the Karmapa Lama to be given a greater role. Tenzin Dhundup is secretary of the Tibetan Youth Congress in Ladakh.
He has this special dynamic quality, the kind of teaching that he gives, it really touches people's heart, and I think he can do very well.
So you'd like the Dalai Lama to name him as his successor?
I think he will, and he has done the indication already.
Choosing the Karmapa Lama would mean breaking centuries of tradition. Tibetans have always believed that when their leader dies, he's reborn. A search begins to find the reincarnated child who takes over again. But that's what China's been waiting for ever since it invaded. Now, when the Dalai Lama finally dies, China will be in a position to wreck the independent authority of the position. All they have to do is choose their own reincarnation, a young Tibetan boy they can raise to be a loyal communist. At the very least, there would be two rival Dalai Lamas. China has already done this with the second highest figure in Tibetan Buddhism, the Panchen Lama. In 1995, it arrested the 6-year-old child who the Dalai Lama recognised as the reincarnation. He hasn't been heard from since. The communists named this boy as the Panchen Lama, raising him in the party line.
Tibetan mangzazo ina so giwele mangzu tenda digwele nyungzam druni da kunjolo soamela mangi soamela dab Zhongguo Gongdan kala nye tene ganga obe amne chone chubulum de yoyak zamno ti goabe.
By switching overall leadership to the Karmapa Lama, Tibetans abroad could sidestep China's plan to control the succession. But those wanting a smooth transition may be disappointed. From his base in Calcutta, Keshav Pradhan has been covering the politics of Tibet's exiles for 20 years. He predicts chaos.
As long as the Dalai Lama is there, as long as they follow his methods or philosophy, they are fine. But the moment he's gone and there is again a controversy over his reincarnation. The Tibetan community may be in chaos for a very, very long time.
And this is why. The Karmapa Lama heads a different sect, known as the Black Hats. It's subservient to the Dalai Lama's sect known as Galupa or Yellow Hats. Throughout history, the rivalry between them has been so intense, they've even gone to war.
I don't know whether the Dalai Lama sect, that is Gelupa, would accept anybody from the other sect as their leader after so many centuries. Here, three things are involved: politics, religion, and superstition.
To see just how bizarre Tibetan rivalries can get, we travel to the Black Hat headquarters in the Indian province of Sikkim. Rumtek was built as an exact copy of the Karmapa Lama's monastery in Tibet. Rumtek is just a short drive from the Tibetan border, so it's a restricted area, and foreigners need permits to come here. It's usually no big deal. I got my permit in just one day. But the one foreigner who's not allowed to come here at all, even to visit his own monastery, is the Karmapa Lama. India has refused all his requests to visit the monastery. Officially, it's to prevent violence. There have been clashes with Buddhists who claim he's not the true Karmapa Lama. Armed soldiers now patrol the monastery in fear of attacks from his rival supporters. Some have even accused the Karmapa Lama of being a Chinese spy. But others suspect China is pressuring India to stop him speaking out.
I don't think India will do anything to annoy China. In the present system of market economy, I don't think any country will like to annoy a big power or a big market like China. I don't think the United States America will also do anything overtly to help the Tibetans as it used to do in the 70s.
Under which Tibetans...
Just how sensitive it all is became clear during our interview. So what do you see as the way forward for Tibet after so many years under Chinese occupation and still no real autonomy, no freedom? What is going to happen in the future? What can happen?
It's difficult to say something. Maybe it's...
While he was answering, I got this from his minder.
We need to continue to study and 가보시라.
Until now, his reputation has been more as a teacher and poet than as an activist. But Tibetans are at a turning point. When the Dalai Lama dies, they will need a strong, charismatic figurehead to continue the struggle. The Karmapa and those around him may wish for a spiritual role, but his people may compel him to the earthly hell of fighting a superpower.